Hey y'all, so today I'm going to be talking about my formal analysis on Romero Gomez's piece, Gardens Don't Tend Themselves. The first thing that stood out to me about this piece and kind of made me gravitate towards it was what the piece itself is, which is a commentary on David Hockney's piece, which he made back in the 1960s. Before I get into Romero Gomez's piece, it's good to do a brief background on the original work, which was David Hockney's American Collectors. David Hockney's American Collectors was made in 1968, around the time when pop art was popular in the United States. David Hockney made a lot of paintings about LA living and LA architecture and LA lifestyle. His piece American Collectors is about two very popular art collectors, Fred and Marcia Wiseman, standing in their LA backyard with them surrounded by art pieces that they collect. So this piece was seen by Romero Gomez, and in an interview he explains that he himself saw this piece by David Hockney and noticed that something was missing, and that David Hockney's painting is not an appropriate representation of LA culture now in current times. So that is why Romero Gomez made this piece. The big difference that we see between this piece compared to Hockney's is the two figures standing in the same LA backyard. First comparison is the difference in the clothes that these figures are wearing. In Hockney's piece, American Collectors, we can see that Fred is wearing a luxurious suit that is well fitted with his hair slicked back, with well taken care of shoes, and this kind of foresty green in his suit, which throughout history, that kind of foresty deeper green is known to represent wealth. Right across from him, we see his wife, Marcia Wiseman, and she is wearing a bright pink, long, silky robe. We could see that this dress is very minimalistic and very light. Also a representation of their luxury. You see her with her hair slicked back, which is showing that when she is hanging out in her LA house, which they also use as almost a gallery showing their art that they collect, she is still able to be pampered and taken care of. So when comparing these two figures to Romero Gomez's figures, we see that they were replaced by these two figures who obviously are dressed differently and are coming from a different background. You can tell this not only by their skin tone, but also by the clothes that they're wearing. These figures are wearing colors that are dull and not as bright or as luxurious as the figures in David Hockney's painting are shown wearing. They're wearing simple t-shirts and jeans and simple work shoes, as you can see. The contrast of them and what they're in compared to the minimalistic architecture behind them shows that these figures are obviously in an environment that is not theirs. The shadows in the figures are also very interesting. These figures have deep shadows in their eyes, which doesn't allow you to really identify who these figures are. It kind of objectifies these figures. Their stand and their almost dead looking poses kind of make it look like they are almost stuck there and part of one of the sculptures that is part of the Wiseman's LA house. One thing that also stands out to me is the totem pole, which is on the right, and totem poles are created by indigenous peoples as kind of a monument to represent an important person or an important time in history or event within their community. I thought it was interesting that something like that is in the painting because it shows the difference between cultures and the way that some art collectors or people with more wealth completely rip away the context of why these indigenous or minorities peoples made these works of art and just uses them as something that is part of a collection or just to be displayed as decoration in someone's house. When looking into Romero Gomez and who he is a Mexican artist based in California, coming from two Mexican immigrant parents who also are domestic workers. Romero Gomez himself has worked as a nanny, and he says in an interview that he's worked in a lot of houses that David Hockney has painted, these luxurious, minimalistic kind of houses. And he noticed that David Hockney failed to completely represent what makes these areas and who maintains these spaces, which are mostly undocumented domestic workers who are very often unseen and kind of pushed aside by these people who have wealth. Romario Gomez, when painting on top of David Hockney's American Collectors, makes a commentary on this issue and elevates the importance of recognizing these domestic workers who are behind the scenes and taking care of these luxurious areas. This painting not only stands out visually because of the reference that it makes to past paintings, but also because of the way that Romario Gomez is communicating an idea that is of importance instead of finger pointing in any way. That was my formal analysis on Romario Gomez's Gardens Don't Tend Themselves. I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you.